up, everyone? Jason and Canyon Adventure Vans, and today I am in a Storyteller, and we get to install our new CTB. This is our console table bracket, and if you've watched any of the other videos on this new bracket, it fits on all Sprinter vans, crew vans, cargo vans, Revels, Storytellers, and then coming soon, Jaycos. What's different about the Storyteller on this bracket is we mount our skinny Lagun bracket on the back side instead of most are on the front side. And the reason that we do this is when you put your Lagun leg in here on a Storyteller, you're able to take the groove lounge, flip that back down without having to take the table off. So it's super important. Normally the table is over here on a Storyteller, but if you want to use the groove lounge, you have to take it off and then put the groove lounge down. With this system and this placement of our Lagun bracket, there's 0 steps to it. So you just make your Lagun bed or your bed here, your groove lounge bed, and then you're good to go. So today I'm going to show you how to install this in a Storyteller. One of the things you'll notice is this is loose, and that's on purpose. So after we get this bolted on to the seat base, we're going to come along and take this, slam it right up against the seat base here for a nice snug fit, and then we'll tighten it up. Okay, so let's get into what you need. First off, here's the kit that comes with it. Let's bring all this out. Got a couple hex wrenches, the 2 bolts and washers that we're going to use. You have some optional self-drilling 5/16 screws that when it's all said and done, if you wanted to, for extra support, you could screw those in here. I have been using this bracket for almost a year now on all 3 of our vans, and I find no need for it. But I've also seen a lot of customers come in here that are very abusive to everything in their vans, and they might need a little extra support. So this is an option for you if you feel that you need it. You can lock it in with that. But again, like I said, testing these out in our own vans with, putting 40, 50,000 miles on our vans in the last year and a half, this bracket has held up wonderfully. So I don't think you need it, but we'll let you decide that. You are going to get 2 plus nuts. 1 plus nut is going to be pre-screwed on this little tool. And this little tool here, when we get to this, it tightens this, squeezes the back end, and pinches this plus nut into this corner here, so it locks it in place, so we're able to use these 2 bolts and bolt it down. Okay, so you'll get that. You're going to have a 1/2 inch step bit right here, and the tools that you will need for this project is a drill to be able to drill this out, 11/16 wrench, a 7/16 wrench or socket, and a 1/2 inch wrench or socket. And this is what's going to bolt these 2 bolts in. This one is going to tighten this corner brace that we talked about. And then this one we're going to use along with the 1/2 inch to insert our plus nuts into the base. Okay, so step 1. We're going to take this drill and we're going to go right in here. Maybe get one that has a fresh battery as well. That'll make things a lot easier. Okay, now that that is done, we don't need that any longer. Next thing you want to do is you want to vacuum up all of these little metal chips because we don't want any rusting happening inside the van. So, all right, we got this cleaned up. I vacuumed up all the loose shavings everywhere, so we're not going to have any rust issues. So it's clean, ready to roll. So the next step is we're going to insert these plus nuts, just like that. And then we're going to start with the tool down here, okay? So I'm going to grab my 11/16 wrench and my 1/2 inch socket. And what I want to do is I'm going to let gravity help me out so I don't need an extra hand. So if I hold this wrench like this and I start cranking on this bolt, I don't need somebody to hold that wrench, so I could sit here. And you can also just turn it around too and put the other end on it and it won't come off. But this is pretty simple. So I'm going to start cranking this down, and you'll start seeing it gets a little stronger. And now what that is that plus nut is starting to squeeze up and move back here, and then eventually it'll pinch behind this seat base. And you want it nice and snug, but we don't want to pull it through the seat base either. That would be very difficult to do, but I'm sure everything's possible. So I'm cranking it down just like a regular bolt, nice and snug, but not trying to snap the bolt. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to back it off. Take it out, and then we're going to do the same thing on the top one. And now this plus nut is completely inserted into the base. So if you ever wanted to take this off, you could take it off, and it's never going to come off. It's never going to come loose on you. So we'll do the same thing here. Thread this up. Put this in here, and then this was what I was saying, we could also do that as well. So I want to push, I'm applying pressure this way as I'm tightening, because otherwise it's going to be, sloppy. So I want to be able to push towards here. Let's get the right way, Jason. First few turns are going to be a little tight, and then what happens is the more you turn it, it gets a little easier until it starts snugging up again. Almost there. All right. Let's back that off. Okay, we're done with that. So let's get this little tool, plus nut tool. You can save that for another project someday. Get that out of the way. We're done using the 11/16. Now we're ready to install the bracket. Let's grab the 2 bolts and 2 washers. Them ready to go. Okay, so you should have these 2 ready to roll. And what I like to do is just get it started first on the bottom, kind of lifting this up and giving me a little bit of kind of loosening it up where I can get that bolt in there. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the top now. Okay, and I'll kind of hand tighten it first. And then you can either eyeball it to try to get it straight, or you can use a square, however you want. But basically, if you look here on the top, this is the indicator that I use to make sure that it's level and flush with the top of the seat base. Right now it looks like it's hanging down a little bit, so when I tighten it, I want it to be like that. See the difference? If I just tighten it here, when I put the table on, it's going to have a little lean to it, so I want to be able to do that and keep it flush to the top. Okay, now I'm going to tighten the bottom one. And I like to go back and forth. Just snugs it up evenly all the way. Back to the top. Right down to the bottom. Again, you want this nice and snug, right? I want it nice and tight up against that seat base so there's no play. But I also don't want to snap these bolts either, so you don't need to, it's a feel process. You'll kind of feel when you'll know that it's really tight, but you don't want to overdo it either. Okay, so that's it, that's done. Now let's take that corner brace that I talked about, and we're going to need the 7/16 and the smaller of the 2 hex wrenches. And I'll start on the top here. Okay. Then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to pop this off first to give me a little more room. Put that back here. It's nice and snug up against the seat base. So now I can come in here and start tightening this. Okay, do the bottom. I can see that it's nice and snug up against there as well. So I'll put the hex wrench down here and start tightening that bottom piece. Go back to the top. Make sure that's nice and snug. Okay, that is it. That's how you install the new CTB console table bracket. Solid as a rock. It's all steel, 1/4 inch steel. You see these 4 holes here on top and bottom? That's for your Lagun bracket, so you can adjust this and move it wherever you want. And the reason that we designed it this way is we felt if we had it all the way here and you were a really tall person with your seat back, when you spun it around, the Lagun would hit here. So if we move it over a little bit, it clears this and allows you to spin it around without hitting your seat back. The other factor on that as well is how wide of a table you're using as your console table. So if it's a smaller table, you can get away with moving this over a little bit. If it's a bigger table, it needs to come back this way. This to me is what I found to be the sweet spot for mounting the console table. So right there. All right, so I grabbed the Lagun leg and arm. I'm going to put this cover back on. That's done. So let's loosen this up. Lock that down. Let's put the Lagun arm on here. And our Skinny 2.0 chocolate console table to match all the Storyteller finish. And there you go. You have a full-on table. And what's great is I can raise this. So if I'm going to sit back here and work or eat or hang out, I can raise this. And now I have myself this big old table here. I can also, if I just want something a little smaller, but I have a great table here. I can put different size cups in here, so you can go your regular smaller like soda cans, LaCroix, that kind of stuff, and also your bigger coffee mugs as well in here. So this is such a great table. And then I'll leave it in the lower version when I want to spin this table around. Now, see, look at this. It hits. So we got to raise this seat up just about an inch so it'll clear the arm here. Is your power on? Yeah. Okay. So you just want to see that? There you go. So when you're in your seat here, just raise it up enough where this just goes in there smoothly. And that's it. So the best part about this whole deal is, let's say, let me move my tools out of the way. I'm ready to go in drive mode. A lot of times I'll just leave it here, lock it down. So, you know, if I'm doing short runs to the store or to work, I don't need my console table in the middle. But when I'm ready for a long road trip, I'm sitting here driving, or getting ready to drive, I can come over here, put this in place, tighten it down so it's not moving around. A lot of times I'll just leave it like this. I'll have my cup in here. It's just super convenient. If I want to open it up, get some snacks in here, throw some chips and stuff like that. I got a full-on table as I'm driving. I feel everything's safe. It's not me fumbling around in my lap trying to hold, you know, snacks and all that. So everything's right here. I park. I'm ready to get in the back seat. All I do is spin this around, out of the way. So that's one of the great features of the console table. The next wonderful feature is, and I spoke about it at the beginning of the video, normally the Lagun's here, so if I want to go into couch mode, bed mode on the Groove Lounge, I would have to take the step of taking the table off, take the arm off, take the leg off, and then drop the lounge down. So check this out. So now it's always ready to go. So now I can be in couch mode instantly. Just like that. And then the other great thing is, so when I come over here, I can raise this up as well, or just leave it like that. And I have myself a table that I can work, put my laptop on, have lunch, have killer views out the side of the van as well. So that's it. That's how you install the CTB. That's our console table bracket. And this is our Skinny 2.0 in chocolate. This matches all the finish in the beautiful Storyteller modes. So if you have any questions, give us a call at Canyon Adventure Vans or check out our website, canyonadventurevans.com. Until next video.